Hey, this is Tom from AB Split Test, and today I'm going to give you a tour of our new feature, Dynamic Traffic Allocation, also known as Multi-Armed Bandit. This is an advanced feature that's been asked for by some agencies that are moving away from those $10,000 SaaSes like VWO and Convert. So let's dive right into it. So why should you care about dynamic traffic allocations? It's an advanced testing technique. It's useful in a few specific situations. And that's when you're getting a large traffic spike during your test, like a sales event or a news headline. So what are we talking about when I say dynamic traffic allocation? Traditionally here we have the 4 steps that go into a split test. You come up with the idea, you create the test, you monitor the test, and when you have enough data that it's statistically significant or not a fluke, then you can complete the test. Dynamic traffic allocation is just a little step 3.5 in here. And what it does is while it's monitoring the traffic, it gradually shifts traffic towards the highest converting option. Now, traditionally, the traffic is just split evenly and measured, and then it's run through statistical probability calculators, Bayesian or frequentist. It's roughly the same thing. Now, you might have noticed that the problem with Bayesian is also the benefit. By splitting the traffic evenly amongst the variations, you get to a result fast, but you also keep sending traffic to your worst variations. Now, long term, it's much better that way because you find the winner faster, and then everyone gets to see the best variation long term. Short term, as you see in this graph here with the orange zone, there's about 10 to 30% more traffic allocated to these losers than there would be with the multi-armed bandit or dynamic traffic mode. So that problem is not a problem unless you have very bursty short-term traffic. So a traffic spike like a headline or a sale like Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas, New Year's, whatever sales you're having, if you're going to have a large spike in traffic during a test, there's not much point waiting until the end of the test if you're not going to get that level of traffic again. You've collected the data, but it's too late to use it. And here it is displayed a different way. Over time with a standard test, the conversion rate doesn't improve until it gets to the very end, and then it jumps all the way up here to the gains. Dynamic traffic allocation means that after just a little while, it'll start pointing traffic towards the better version. Now, that's great because you don't have as many burnt conversions, but in the long run, you end up having less gains. So like we said, what is dynamic traffic allocation? It's just watching your test results live to see which one has a better conversion rate and sending more traffic towards that variation. And that allows for real-time adaptation and improved performance while the test is running, not after the test is running. And again, that is why you don't always want to use dynamic traffic, because you're spreading your traffic out unequally between the variations. It takes longer to reach significance. So it takes longer for you to be sure that the result that you're going to get is accurate. That means that long term, you're going to have a worse conversion rate until you catch up to that point of significance. All that means is if the test is running for more than a couple of weeks, it's probably not the right mode for that test. Beyond that, tests are a little bit harder to interpret and explain. And also before we came along, it was quite complex to set up. There were a lot of numbers and statistics that you needed to know. We've implemented a bunch of smart features to do all the work for you. And beyond that, it's just overkill for most website experiments. We recommend having 1 or 2 tests running at a time, and you want to be testing important things like heroes, headlines, things that are going to get people to continue engaging on your website. Dynamic traffic tests are great, but only for shorter term things. So your headline on your website is something you're going to have for a while. You want to optimize that right, get the data, and move on. So we've touched on this already, but when do we want to use this mode? It's mainly when you've got a high amount of traffic and you need to take action fast. You don't want to wait for the result. And it's also useful for low value learning, but real value for traffic. Like we were saying, things in the footer like a call to action, a little download button, whether it's buy now or download or something like that. It doesn't need a thesis to get to the bottom of it. You just want to find the best result and show it to people. You don't want to muddy results and data and things like that. It's a great way to just do a little secondary test on something like that, which means it fits in quite perfectly with just a traditional optimization strategy. You're going to use Bayesian most of the time for most of your changes, and then you'll use multi-armed bandits for other levers and goals and things like that. So how do you set up a dynamic traffic test? Previously, before this latest update, you'd have to sign up to one of those expensive solutions like VWO, Convert, or Optimizely for thousands and thousands of dollars per year. But now it's available in our A/B split test plugin on our Teams plan, which is just $3.99 per year. All you've got to do is activate it in your settings, and then you are ready to create a dynamic traffic test. When you're defining your primary goal, just remember that is the thing that the Multi-Armed Bandit is going to be optimizing. So in this screenshot, you'll see the goal is a purchase. This is going to optimize to get you more purchases during the test. Very handy for something like Cyber November, Black Friday, Christmas sales, things like that. So what does it look like? Pretty much the same. You still get the same data. You get the conversion rate and the uplift, which is the most important thing, but also a new column, which is called the weight. And that is how much traffic is going to each variation. This test here is very early on, and the traffic is just split evenly. But as time goes on, it'll go more and more towards the higher conversion option here, pushing up to 70, 80, even 90% of the traffic up to that variation. Because of the mode of continuous optimization, the test never ends. There's no autocomplete function. They just keep running and allocating more and more traffic towards the winning variation. Now, there will always be a small percentage allocated to every single variation. That's called its exploration mode. So that's it. Hopefully now you know what dynamic traffic allocation is, when to use it, and how to use it. If you want to try it out yourself, you can start now by downloading the free plugin at absplittest.com.